Welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land. I'm so honored to have Miss Boss Babe in the house herself, Natalie Elizabeth Ellis. I adore you. I just want to introduce you, give you a proper introduction. So she's CEO of BOSSBABE. She has over 1 million social media followers, 6.5 million people that use her hashtag, degree in business management. She's won over 11 national awards for her work online and with entrepreneurship. And she's really brilliant at building an online community and a dear friend of mine. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on here.
Yeah,
Right?
You sleep all day, every day. You don't do anything.
I know, so this is great for me.
Right? So tell people out there that are watching, what is BOSSBABE?
So BOSSBABE is one of the largest online networks of female entrepreneurs. We are a big online community. We have an exclusive paid community where it's very specific female entrepreneurs in there. And we basically help women go from having an idea to having a thriving business.
So where did this start? What was the moment you were like, you know what, I'm a boss babe. I'm going to create this community.
I mean, it started for me long before then when, I was this weird child. I was super obsessed with entrepreneurship. It's the weirdest thing to be obsessed with, but I was obsessed with it. And I just loved this idea of going from having this idea and making it a thing. That was just wild to me. And so I first went and did that. And what I realized through that journey was, firstly, entrepreneurship can open up so many doors. It got me from a very small place in the UK called Newcastle to traveling the world and literally living out my wildest dreams. And it was also a lonely journey, and all of these little things, I just thought, you know what, I want to work with women and show them that this is possible for them and bring them together with other women that have their back. And I really do believe in the power of women. I think we're all amazing, and when we work together, just incredible things happen, and that's just in my blood. I am collaboration all the way. And so yeah, that's kind of where this idea was born. And BOSSBABE was actually started already as an Instagram account with quotes, and it was so empowering. And I was like, okay, this is going to be my thing now. And it's kind of where it all began.
So now you're officially the owner now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so tell us about that transition.
So yeah, I've been running it for about 2.5 years, but as a hobby. It was never really a huge thing for me in the beginning, because I was still figuring out what it could look like as a business. And I kind of got hit with one of those universal interventions where the universe came in and I lost my visa for working in the US because I got married, which was a huge shock. I didn't know that was going to happen. It should have been the happiest time of my life, and that happened. And at the time I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. And then I thought, you know what? No, let's turn this into an amazing opportunity. So I stepped back. I didn't do anything for 6 months but think. And that was the most powerful thing I could have done. And what I realized was there was this incredible opportunity with BOSSBABE, and I wanted to go hell for leather with it. So I relaunched, and within 30 days we went from 4K revenue a month to 150K plus revenue.
Wow.
Within 30 days. It was one of them things when you take time to step back and think. And I had another business that was taking my focus before this, but stepping back to think and being where am I really aligned? What am I called to do? And when I give something my all, I give it my all. And that was it for me. I made the decision, I set that intention, and I have an amazing business partner, and we both just made it happen.
I find that so powerful, because so many women have these moments in our lives, and men, where nothing's happening. And you're thinking, oh my God, what is the universe telling me? I'm not meant to do this. I'm not booking this job. I've lost all my money. And that's really an opportunity to give space to the universe, right?
So true.
But how do you navigate that? Because it's really hard to have a positive mindset in that time.
I mean, even so much as taking 30 minutes of space a day, it's terrifying. If you say to someone, go and sit in a corner in the dark with no telephone and no podcast, they're going to be terrified. And it is a scary thing. And, it was a really hard thing. I didn't just I wasn't okay, this is a great opportunity. I was oh my God, my work almost got taken away from me. And that was just the thing that I thrived on. It was what I loved to do. And so I went through a few weeks of being distraught and almost why am I even getting out of bed? What is there to do? I'm not even able to work. And then that really, really quickly changed. I was listening to a podcast, and just very much reminded me that everything that we're given is a gift and everything is a lesson. And if you can truly step into that, that would be incredible. And then I also thought about, okay, why did I get into business in the first place? It was to create freedom. And that's freedom of, you know, finance, not having to worry about money in the bank. It was being able to live wherever I wanted. It was all of these things. And that's what I built. And I had 6 months where I wasn't worrying about money and I wasn't worrying about all these things. And I had to learn to be grateful for that. Like, you want to create this business, have freedom. Now you've got it. See what's next. And I just used that time to read and do all of those things I would never have had the time to do.
What was the best idea that came out of that incubation period?
The best idea that came out of it was something called the Society. So the Society is an exclusive membership community within BOSSBABE. And one thing I realized is a strong community is one that has a lot of things in common and that really respect each other and almost sign up to be in that community and do what you expect of them in that. And for me, the Society was this place that women could come, whether they had an idea or an established business, but they committed to working on themselves and supporting other women. And that was the thing. And so I did tons and tons of research on why women get held back in business, and I came up with a few of these different reasons. And I thought, if I can put all of those things into one place, I can make it affordable, and the work's on you. Like, you decide to step up and make your business a success. And that, I think that was the best idea to come out of that time.
So Natalie, one of the things I love about you, and I've said this before, is Natalie has this ability to make work really fun. Like, I've watched, you work for like a day on end, and you're just like having fun. It's not like you're in this thing. You can socialize and be having fun and being productive and all this. And I think that one of your true geniuses is obviously building community online, which is not an easy task at all. So tell us a little bit about Instagram and how you actually build a community online.
Yeah, that's so true. And I just think you should never take anything too seriously as well.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's business. I always say, like, well, I'm not like doing heart surgery. No one's gonna die if I'm not, like, it's never anything too serious. But when it comes to Instagram, I mean, the first thing is authenticity is so important, and to be able to show your most full self is so important, and using all the tools you're given to be able to do that. I'm a huge fan of video right now. Live video in particular is absolutely incredible, as well as VOD, as well as podcasting. Anything you can do where your full personality comes through, I think, is so important. And people want more than just a picture these days. They want to know who that person is behind the brand. So as well as that, when you're putting together your captions, your images, like, not just having the typical like outfit of the day, like actually like step behind the image. So like, what was going on for you that day? Like, what do you have to share with people? Like, what is your value? And I'm just a huge believer of value, always on social media. Like, people, when they land on your profile, they want to know, okay, what is this person going to do for me? And so that should come through in your description. It should come through in the links you share. It should come through in your images. You should make sure everything is really high quality and consistent. I think there's all of these different things, but if you also just aren't being your most valuable and amazing true self, it's very, very hard to get followers to stick around.
I mean, that sounds beautiful, but it's also highly intimidating.
Yeah.
Be the best full version of yourself. Make sure it's a high quality thing. Tell all of your personal details in a caption and hope that people just love you. That's a beautiful concept that is not easy, and it's really like terrifying.
It is.
So how do you break through that? I mean, how do I get over that hurdle? Because I don't like to post everything about myself. It's too vulnerable.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is making that decision of, why do I want to be on social and grow my social? So for a lot of people, they're so happy with a personal account and they don't want to grow it, and that's fine. But I think if you make the decision of, I want to grow on social media, I think thinking about what that means, because if you do it well, you're going to become a role model for so many people. And I think often someone can have 10,000 followers and think, oh, I've only got 10,000 followers. And I'm like, you are a role model to 10,000 followers. Can you imagine a room of 10,000 people? And so with that, I think you have to really accept the responsibility you have. And you're like, if I'm going to put myself out there, I think I have a responsibility to do it authentically. I think we're so far past the accounts that make us feel bad about ourselves and shame us. And I think people are just craving this authenticity. So it's almost a decision, and it isn't for everyone. And that's the important thing to remember. Like if you're listening to this and you're thinking, that just sounds exhausting for me and I'm not sure that's something that I want to do. And I mean, the high quality images, it doesn't have to be like perfectly polished, but it has to look decent.
Right.
Like it can be behind the scenes, but it has to look decent. If that's not for you, it's fine. It's all about finding the avenue that works for you. But I think really realizing the opportunity you have is so important, and to be a role model for so many people. If you decide to do that, you have to be all in.
Man, I thought I was going to make a name for myself just hating on people. I guess not. It's not been tried. It hasn't worked, I guess. Good for you.
So I spoke at one of the Boss Babe events. What was that, a few weeks ago now?
Yeah, I think so.
And what I think, and where I see kind of the future going, and I know that you're up to this, is online is amazing, and we build these communities and we touch and find people and friends and everything across the globe. So I'm so thankful for the online world. But I do believe that the future is people are dying for community. In fact, we know now it's a public health issue that 1 in 5 Americans anyway deal with chronic loneliness. And so you're now putting together, part of the society is going to events. Talk about women's events and where you see the vision of that going.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Loneliness is such a problem, and I think probably all of us in this room could even say at some point we still feel lonely.
Sure.
We can have so many friends, but because we exist so much online or in front of a camera, it's terrifying. And yeah, so that's exactly what it's going to be. So Boss Babe and the Society, we're going to be putting on a lot more events. We have one this month. We're going to, in San Francisco, we'll be taking them to New York. We're going to London. And it's really important for me to be able to bring very like-minded women offline and actually meet in person, the kind of transformations that you have in a room like that. And even if you come to an event and there's 200 people there, don't feel like you have to go and meet tons of people. If you meet just one person, that's going to be the person that you could have the most incredible relationships with, you can go for cocktails with when you really need some support, whatever it is. That is so powerful. So yeah, offline events I think are only going to continue to get bigger, and that's a big piece of advice that I give to any kind of influencer online or someone that's ahead of a community online. Like, think about taking that community offline. The amount of value you can deliver by introducing someone to their next best friend is so big. And I was just chatting to Laurie before about how the two of us are quite introverted. We're like introverted extroverts, and what I think is you can be really introverted, but then the second you connect with someone that's just like you can feel like the most extroverted person ever. You can gain so much energy from that person. And so I think we need to be doing more to create those kind of relationships.
You have done so much. Thank you for contributing to the community in a way that you have. I mean, Boss Babe is like a pop culture phenomenal word. What does it feel like to actually be the Boss Babe?
So I don't really think about it too much. Like, I don't think of myself as like the Boss Babe. Like, I think of Boss Babe as like we're all a community and we're all in it together.
But you're the leader. You have the responsibility. You are the image. You are the brand.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of I have something that is almost overwhelming in a way. Like, I wake up every day and I just ask how I can best be in service and make sure I don't F this up. Like, that is terrifying for me, because I know it's such a big thing, and I have so many amazing women kind of depending on the work that we do, and it really does give me that kick up the bum that I need, but it is overwhelming at times too. And me and my business partner have those meetings all the time where we're like, okay, we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, there's so much to do, but let's remember why we're doing it, let's break it all down. But I mean, as I said, I don't. It's easier when you think about it in terms of we're all in this together, we're all this big community, but it is overwhelming because I just want to do like the absolute best I can do.
And so you are a role model. Clearly, Jesslyn is spot on there. Who are some of your role models?
Sarah Blakely. Oh my God.
Instantly, no hesitation.
I love her. I think she's incredible. I think women that stand out for me are women that are so just unapologetically themselves, and women who just are such a badass in so many areas of their life. Like, she's incredible in business. She's an incredible wife and mother. She is an amazing friend. Like, you can just tell by the way she is with people. She's just a great person generally. So she's a huge role model for me. My mum and my grandma are big role models for me. They are both such strong people, and so kind. My grandma has taught me a lot about the importance of being kind to people. And she's also taught me a lot about being a calm person.
Oh, really?
So I'm glad about that. But Sarah Blakely, in terms of business, is my #1 role model.
Right.
I love her.
Right, and we want to give a big shout out to Nick Pigeon as well. Big hugs to Nick if you're watching.
We love Nick.
That's how we were introduced, and she works with you in BOSSBABE as well, right?
She does, yeah.
And then I want to talk about one last thing before that's pretty near and dear to all of our hearts, which is really bringing all colors, all sizes, all backgrounds together in these women's events. I think that there's noticing going to these women's events, one will be like a bunch of white girls, one will be all African Americans, and I just feel like we need to do work on this, all of us, you know, as a culture. What is the deal? We're still being divided even as women in some weird way.
I know, I completely agree. And I think as a white woman, it's so hard for me to speak about this. But one thing I know I can do more of and I can do better is bring more Black women onto the stage and make sure that we are representing everyone and making everyone feel comfortable and welcome. And I think we have such an obligation to do that.
For sure, absolutely. I look forward to that. I think there's a calling that's coming through with a lot of women I'm talking to about events and stuff. So
I agree, and I appreciate you putting that out there as well and holding us all accountable. That I think that's so important.
yeah, for sure. So we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Lori Harder about building your tribe, and then we're going to bring you back again. So stay tuned, you guys. We'll be right back.